Hi and welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom. This is a horror movie review. Today we're going to be having a look at Grave Encounters, which we've literally just watched. So do you want to give a brief summary of what the plot is?
Okay, generally the plot for this, what I've gathered when I watched it, we have a film crew who do, like haunted houses and castles and things like that. So basically this will be their 6th episode. They've decided to go into this old mental asylum, so we have heard this before. And basically while they've gone in there, they've asked the janitor to lock them in for the whole night until the janitor comes back at 6 a.m. Generally, it looks like they've been in there for about 20 odd minutes before strange stuff does start happening. But as it's gone on over the hours, things start building up and get more and more and more. And then obviously people start going missing. And then by the end of it, you do get a bit of a freaky ending where he says that he's cured, and then it just cuts out. So
that's the half of it in a nutshell. I mean, it does take a while for this film to go. I mean, the initial sort of I suppose quarter of the film is just set up. It's kind of sort of filming prep for this sort of episode of this TV show that they're sort of filming, doing interviews and stuff like that. And then they go into this hospital, and there's a film crew of what, 5-6 people, something like that. And nothing really happens for a little while, and like I said, it's quite a good slow build up. And I'm not a huge fan of found footage films, generally speaking. I don't really like Paranormal Activity. I was never a big fan of the Blair Witch one, even when that came out. But this one I actually thought was quite effective. I've read that some of the criticisms of this film is that some of the CGI is fairly poor, and I'll come on to that again in just a second. But I actually think this was genuinely quite a frightening film, and it's if you don't like jump scares, then totally avoid this film. Because this film is full of jump scares. Now, some films again get criticism of that because it's kind of getting a jump, it's kind of getting a cheap scare and stuff like that without building the tension. But I'd say this film does do a good job, of building up tension. I actually thought the cast were very good. Actually, I kind of did believe it. Now, I actually saw the second film, Grave Encounters 2, before this one, and I thought this one was a lot better. The main guy of the second one did not think was a very good actor, and he kind of took me out of it. The main guy of this one, his name's Lance someone or other. I thought was really good. He really sold like he was this. You could totally buy him as this TV presenter and doing that, and the supporting cast were all really good at what they kind of do. The rest of the cast, to be fair, was relatively limited in what they had to do. But you believed the role that they were doing, and you could, the way they were acting, it seemed very natural to me. So I actually think this was a really good film. Actually, a lot better. I mean, I think the second one, and thought it was okay. But this one was a lot better. So the one thing I say, that the effects, they're very, very quick. You don't see a lot of lingering shots of monsters and stuff, and they don't look. They look more freaky than anything else. But they're sort of done in such a way that I think you kind of, it does sort of it's disturbing to look at, and the sort of brief times you do see it, there is a lot of jump scares. There's one poor CGI, what I would consider a poor CGI scene. And that is where they're in a room and all these arms, black arms, start coming out of the ceilings, and that looks a bit lame to me. But I can, I always judge a film based on the budget that it is, and Zara here was absolutely terrified while she was watching it.
not through all of it, just through some bits. Okay.
Only 90% of it.
No. Let's go with 70.
Yeah. So, to be fair, I mean that's quite a good indicator if a film's doing its job, and I had to sort of try and stop her from hiding behind her phone and go, "Oh, I've totally got to text this person," to sort of try and get her mind off it and stuff like that. So if you wanted to go to a scary film, if you're a fan of the found footage films, I actually think this is one of the better ones. I'm surprised it's not more well known, if I'm honest. So if you don't like the found footage films, I don't think you're going to suddenly become a fan. But I would say this is better than average of that sort of film. I think it's genuinely quite a scary film. It's not a scary minute. There are long sections of the film where nothing really happens. But I think they pepper the sort of the suspense and the scares out quite nicely as well. And then you get a real sense of like growing anxiety and fears. I don't think you got with the second one. And I know Zara hasn't seen the second one, so, but you know, the fact that they're meant to be there for one night, but it just seems to, this night seems to be going on like forever. So you don't know exactly how long they've been there, but it seems like they've been going on. They've been staying there for days and days, and this is why at the end, Zara's favourite scene where the guy's just literally reduced to eating a live rat because he's so hungry. He's been there for so long. But in the process of the film, it's not 100% of the time they've been in there. The time seems to have stopped or something, and it's never really explained. All you'll sort of all you'll get really the sort of explanation is that there's some kind of like devil worship or something.
Yeah.
But you don't really know what it is. And I think it works for it. I think it works for the sort of like the open-endedness of this film, and you don't really know what's happened, and it kind of leads you to joyride conclusions. Yeah. Is there anything you didn't like about it?
Probably the arms coming out of the wall part, and probably just, I understand probably why they've done it, but the bit of the slow startup, because it really dragged at the beginning. So I was just thinking, please don't let this be like any other, found footage film. But it picks up in after the very slow start, and it actually became quite good. So I'd probably definitely watch this film again.
All right. So what do you give it out of 10?
I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10.
I'm going to give it an 8. So that means it's a 7 out of 10. Have you seen it? What do you think of it? Leave us a comment, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. See you later.
Bye.